Welcome. Today we are diving into what is without a doubt the most active, the most critical part of any project's journey, the executing phase. This is the moment the ship actually leaves the harbor. So let's get right into it. So picture this. You've spent weeks, maybe even months, creating the perfect project plan. Everything is mapped out, the destination is crystal clear. But then you hit that moment, that big question. Okay, now what? How do you take this amazing blueprint and actually make it real? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break. The answer, of course, is the execution phase. This is the moment the engine roars to life, the crew gets to work, and all those brilliant plans start becoming something you can actually see and touch. It's where all the theory finally meets practice. So what is it really? Well, the project executing phase, which you might also hear called the implementation phase, is where your team takes that plan and just runs with it. They're knocking out the tasks you so carefully laid out, all for one reason: to create that final awesome result for the customer.
But, and this is super important, the work doesn't just start whenever. The executing phase has a very specific trigger. You need formal approval of the project management plan. Your sponsor, your key stakeholders, they all have to give you the official green light. Without that, your project is still just sitting in the planning dock.
Once you get that green light, it's time for the project manager to break out their playbook. You can think of it like a navigation chart for steering the project through what can sometimes be pretty choppy waters. It's all about mastering the core processes. And that playbook, it's built around 9 key processes. Now, these aren't just suggestions. They are the absolute essential actions that a project manager has to implement to keep everything on course and moving forward. Let's take a closer look. The first part of your playbook is all about getting the fundamentals right, the logistics and the risks. You have to acquire your resources, right? The people, the tools, everything you detailed in your plan. You've also got to finalize contracts with any sellers, lock in those agreements, and, maybe most critically, you have to actively implement your risk responses. That means working with risk owners to tackle threats before they turn into huge project sinking problems. Okay, now for part 2 of the playbook, people and quality. This is where the human element really shines. You're developing your team, managing them, and giving them feedback. You're also keeping your stakeholders engaged and motivated. And trust me, that can be the difference between a project that limps across the finish line and one that soars. Then you've got managing communications, making sure quality is baked in by preventing defects, and capturing all those vital lessons learned along the way. Every single one of these is crucial. So with that playbook in hand, what does the project manager, the captain of this ship, actually do day to day? Let's talk about your key responsibilities when you're at the helm. Every one of your actions has a direct impact. Being accessible to your team isn't just about being a nice person. It's how you spot issues before they blow up. Managing a formal change system, that's not about being a bureaucrat. It's your #1 defense against scope creep. Sharing lessons learned makes the next project better, and monitoring all those background activities ensures that nothing important falls through the cracks. Now, here's the thing. Managing all those processes is one thing, but the Project Management Institute has found that success in this phase often boils down to something else entirely: your interpersonal skills. This is your essential toolkit. Just look at these two. They seem similar, but they're not. Leadership is about guiding your team with a clear vision, using the formal authority you have. But influencing, that's the delicate art of persuasion, of getting people on board when you don't have direct authority over them. Being great at both is an absolute game changer. And those are just 2 of the 11 essential skills. Your full toolkit has everything from communication and negotiation to conflict management, coaching, and trust building. And please, don't ever think of these as soft skills. They are the core competencies that let you navigate the incredibly complex human side of any project. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's bring our ship back to port and just quickly recap the key takeaways from this whole voyage. So if you remember nothing else, remember this. The executing phase is where the magic happens. It's where your plan becomes a real product. It only starts after you get that formal approval. As the PM, you're constantly juggling 2 things: managing the processes and expertly navigating the people. And ultimately, your success is going to depend just as much, if not more, on your interpersonal skills as it does on your technical know-how. Which brings me to one final thought for you. Look back at that toolkit of interpersonal skills we just talked about. Which one of those is already your superpower? And more importantly, which one are you going to intentionally focus on developing for your next voyage?